All limestone caves are pretty much formed the same way. The little variation might be it's limestone typically, it's underground. It's all pretty much the same way because it's the physics and chemistry of how limestone, or dolomite, which is just limestone with some other things thrown in for flavor, if you will, how they dissolve. And then what's critical then is, well, are they uplifted and therefore exposed to openings that animals and plants can come into? Or are they still underground and then there's a collapse forming a sinkhole, basically a stairwell into a lower cave? Well, in some ways that's really what the Mammoth Site is. We haven't gotten into the lower cave, but we have that stairwell that goes from the surface down in, and then it got plugged. Everybody is asking, when did these caves form? And it's not like the caves of the world said, okay, on Thursday we're all going to become caves worldwide. It's not like that. So it forms at different times, different ways, different intensity worldwide. Here in the Black Hills, we really don't know how long ago. There's some good estimates coming out. We're probably looking at a cave system that, at least the initial one, is millions of years. But we're seeing an aspect that is only probably many hundreds of thousands of years, less than 1 million years old. Forming a cave underground that collapses, who knows how long that took. When that collapsed, all the sediments above kind of collapsed down, forming a sinkhole. Because of the hydrology, water was able to pump in, and we have a pond. Now we have a trap. So only then did the Mammoth Site develop. The top seems to be 100,000. We've excavated down only to about 200,000 years ago. We know we have 45 more feet to go. So it's kind of like, was that another 100,000, 200,000? So probably less than 500,000 year old sinkhole. That's a guess. Okay, caves form. Why do we care? What use are they? The use can be dependent on what is your question. Part of the question can be, well, in many ways, caves, from my viewpoint, the Mammoth Site's viewpoint, caves are kind of the initial museum. They store things. They don't store everything. So the game would be, what have they stored? What am I missing when I'm looking at this record? So they're a record of the past. If I study enough caves and understand the chronology of those caves and the instant in time that's being recorded, climate, animals, habitat, and line them up, so to speak, we know at 100,000 years ago, North America and the world basically was in what we call an interglacial. We go from a glacial to interglacial. You and I live in an interglacial today. If we study going from glacial to interglacial here, and we have a good enough record here, can we project what that might be for the upcoming drought interglacial that we're into now? So we might be able to say, here's where we're going to run out of water. We should not be farming this way, we should farm this way because it uses less water, that kind of thing. So it's a way to project how should we live in the future. We have an obligation at the Mammoth Site because we're studying such a geologic young age versus Badlands, which is millions and millions of years, and dinosaurs, which are fantastic, but tens of millions of years old. We have an opportunity here because we're studying something that's so recent, just a couple million years old, if that much. To say, okay, you realize then that this is our natural heritage, and you, the people of North America, and any visitors we have, should realize that these are important. Now, you can learn from them and be a scientist. You can learn from them and realize they're fun. There's interesting things. So there's entertainment value. There's also education value. There's conservation, environmental value, agricultural value. I think it's important for us to teach people that caves are important. We have a lot of caves here, and there's an incredible amount of information. And you have a place called the Mammoth Site who has the opportunity to present this in an educational way.